Ever since I spoke at City Council last year, whenever I go to give a speech, I hear the mayor in my ear saying, "David, you have 5 minutes." And I see Jason with that stopwatch to make sure that after 5 minutes the microphone gets turned off. So I'm going to be within my 5 minutes here. September 1939, my grandparents, Ferdinand and Magda Muller, and their 9-year-old son, Henry, were kicked out of Slovakia by the Nazis. They tried to get into Palestine, and the British mandate was prevented Jews from getting into Palestine. They tried to get into the United States, and the United States wasn't accepting any more Jewish refugees. And the only country that they could get into was Canada. And that was only because of a financial sponsor in Welland, Ontario, who they didn't know, who sponsored them without knowing them. They got to Welland, Ontario in September 1939, and they were assigned a farm on a place called Black Horse Corner, which if you go out Lundy's Lane and you pass Kaler and then Garner and go down another couple miles, you get to Black Horse Corner. They knew nothing about farming. They didn't know any English. They learned about how to be farmers, and 9 years later, they moved into the city onto Center Street, where they opened a retail store, Muller's Meats. We lived above the store, and that was from 1948 to 1967. Then my grandfather bought the NC Joseph plant on the 420, and they moved the factory to be a wholesale meat plant on the 420, and we moved to Brookfield Avenue. After that, we moved to McMillan Drive. I went to Diamond Jubilee, Princess Margaret, Stanford High School. We moved to January Drive. And then one day, fast forward several generations, I was watching the city council meeting, and a person gets up there who I'd never heard of before, and his name was Stephen DeBurr, and giving a speech, and I was so attracted by the magnetism and the charisma of this speaker. I said to my wife, Joyce, I have to go meet this person. And I called him, and he said, sure, meet me. You can come down to 4617 Queen Street. And I went down there, and lo and behold, it was on the same block as I used to go with my grandfather to see Helen Gemmell at the Bank of Montreal, and then he would take me next door to the My Country Delicatessen for European delicacies. It was the same block where I used to go with my grandfather to the stock market, to first Craig's and then Green Shields, and hang out with Jonesy. It was where I got my husky suits at Ben's Menswear, later known as BJ's. And when I got my first car was where I got my insurance at Olson Sotil. And so how shocked and dismayed was I when I got on this very block, and I saw 80 people lined up waiting for breakfast. And I met Steve, and I helped serve the breakfast. And I met one woman who was in line. She was in her mid-20s, very attractive girl. And I said to her, what's your story? She said to me, you know, I'm a hairdresser, and during COVID, I worked for a salon, and during COVID, the salon shut down, and I lost my job. I was living hand to mouth, week to week, and I lost my apartment, and nowhere to live, and I ended up in a tent behind the train station on Bridge Street. And she said, I've been living there, and to be honest with you, I kind of have a little bit of a temper, she said, and 2 nights ago, I got in an argument with the person at the next tent, and she burned my tent down. And I found a place to live. I heard about there's a room not too far away on Erie where there's a man who has 6 beds, and there were only 5 women living there, so I took the 6th bed. But in lieu of rent, he has us pimped. I'm a prostitute over by the casino. And after everybody, all the 80 people left, I said to Steve, this is not right. This is not right. We are in a city where there are so many people who have so much wealth. It is not right for so much wealth to be on one side and such terrible, terrible poverty to be down there on Queen Street. And that's when I said to Steve, we're going to work on this and we're going to make something happen. We're going to get rid of all this. And I'm pledging to you that there's a lot of people who can help out. There's 400 people in this room. There's only 80 people who come for breakfast. It is not a giant problem in Niagara Falls like it is in some of the cities in Ontario. With 400 of us here and only 80 people, if each fifth person would go down there and find someone, just some sort of job, and that will lead to some sort of place where they can live. 2 years from now, when we go to have this gala, my goal is that the gala will not happen because there won't be any need for it. And it's not that impossible. There's not that big a need, and there's enough people in this room that can make this happen. Our family is pledged to make it happen, and it is going to happen. With you or without you, it is going to happen because Steve and I are going to make it happen. We're not only going to feed all these people, but we're also going to find a place for them all to live. We got plans for that, and I see my 5 minutes are up, so I'm going to just take 30 seconds to just give a shout out to a couple of people. First and foremost is my close friend, Jim Pattison Jr. He is the greatest advocate for Niagara Falls and such a great person in general. God, we are so pleased to have him on this earth Jim would have been here. His travel plans made it impossible for him to be here, but I know he has a whole crew of people here from Ripley's and from Great Wolf Lodge. I don't know where they all are. There they are. But he is a gift to mankind. I want to just give him a shout out. A couple of other shout outs I need to give. George Eric Jr. is here somewhere with his family, and I'm not sure exactly where, but he and my grandparents his parents, George and Violet, go back with our family for a very long time. We're so thrilled that he's such a big part of this. And I think Lisa Berlin is here somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where, but she and her family have been such great supporters of ours. And of course, we miss Charlie terribly. Would have loved this. What a great ambassador for Niagara Falls. And last but not least, and most important, to have my rabbi here and his wife, Rabbi Zaltzman, and his wife Perla, who have done so much for Niagara Falls in the last 20 years. And if you don't know him, you've got to meet them. They're really incredible people. Thank you very much. Good night.